Amelia was homeless, hungry, and had no hope. Then, one kind woman gave her a job, and her life started to change. But not everyone was happy. Lies were told. A trap was set. And soon, Amelia lost everything. Will she rise again? Or is this the end for her? Sit back, grab your popcorn, and let's find out. Once upon a time, in the heart of Abuja, a young lady named Amelia was about to make a decision that would change her life forever. But she didn't know it yet. It was a hot afternoon, and Amelia had just stepped out of a cleaning job interview. The streets were busy. Cars honking, traders calling customers, people moving up and down. As she walked, something caught her eye. Just a few steps ahead, a well-dressed woman was pulling out her phone from her handbag, and a thick bundle of cash slipped out without her noticing. The money landed on the floor. Amelia's heart jumped. People saw it, but nobody stopped. Some pretended not to notice, while others gave it a quick look and walked away. Amelia bent down, picked up the money, and hurried after the woman. "Excuse me, Ma," she called out. "You dropped this." The woman turned, surprised. She looked at Amelia, then at the money in her hand. For a moment, she didn't say anything. Then she touched her chest. "Oh my goodness, I didn't even notice." Amelia stretched the money toward her. "Here, Ma." The woman collected it slowly, still staring at Amelia. "Thank you so much, my dear. What's your name?" "Amelia, Ma." The woman smiled. "Amelia, you are a good person. In this day and age? Ah, people don't return money like this." Amelia smiled shyly. "I couldn't possibly keep money that doesn't belong to me, Ma." Madame Laura nodded, clearly impressed. She reached into her bag and brought out a smaller bundle of money. "Take, for your kindness." Amelia quickly shook her head. "No, Ma, I don't want." Madame Laura raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "Kindness is not something you buy, Ma," Amelia said simply. For a moment, Madame Laura just looked at her, then she smiled. "You are very smart. What do you do?" Amelia hesitated. She didn't want to say it, but the truth was the truth. "I'm jobless, Ma. I just left a cleaning job interview, but they said I wasn't qualified." Madame Laura sighed. You know what? I'll hire you." Amelia blinked. "Ma?" Madame Laura brought out a business card and pressed it into her palm. "Come to my office tomorrow." Amelia stared at the card. Her fingers tightened around it like it was pure gold. She had no idea that this job was about to change her life forever, but not in the way she expected. The next morning, Amelia woke up very early. She could barely sleep the night before. A real office job? It felt like a dream. She wore her best outfit. She even borrowed her neighbor's small handbag to look more office-like. After saying a quick prayer, she headed out. When she got to Madame Laura's company, she stood outside for a moment. The place was fancy. The kind of place where people wore suits and spoke big grammar. Amelia swallowed hard. "God, please, don't let me disgrace myself today." She stepped inside and walked up to the front desk, where a young woman with long nails and heavy makeup was scrolling through her phone. "Good morning, Ma. Please, I'm here to see Madame Laura." The receptionist, Lillian, slowly looked up. Her eyes scanned Amelia from head to toe. Then, she laughed. "You? Here to see Madame Laura? Are you sure you're in the right place?" Amelia's smile faded a little. "Yes, Ma. Madame Laura told me to come." She brought out the complimentary card Madame Laura gave her, but Lillian didn't even look at it. Lillian leaned on the counter, smiling in a wicked way. "Listen, this is not a psychiatric hospital. We don't treat mad people here." Amelia felt something cold in her chest. People in the reception area turned to look. Some whispered, some laughed. But, "Madame Laura?" Lillian snatched the card from Amelia's hand and tossed it aside like rubbish. "Please, leave this place now before I call security." Amelia bent down to pick up the card, her hands shaking. Maybe she should just leave. Maybe this was all a mistake. "Amelia!" A strong, familiar voice called out. Amelia looked up. Madame Laura stood at the entrance, smiling. Amelia quickly stood up straight. "Good morning, Ma." Madame Laura walked toward her. "You're here. I like that. Very punctual." Amelia smiled, but Lillian's mouth was hanging open. Madame Laura turned to face her. "What is it? Lillian quickly forced a fake smile. Nothing, Ma, I was just welcoming her. Madame Laura didn't look convinced, but she didn't ask more questions. Instead, she turned to Amelia. From today, you're my new personal assistant. The whole reception went quiet. Lillian's fake smile disappeared. What? Madame Laura handed Amelia a small notepad and pen. Lillian will show you around and teach you how to use a computer. Amelia's heart almost jumped out of her chest. A computer? She had never even touched one before. Yes, Ma. Thank you, Ma. Lillian's face was stiff, but she forced another smile. But inside, she was boiling. That night, Lillian sat in a bar, stirring her drink with a straw. Her face was tight with anger. Brenda, her best friend, sat across from her, eating fried meat and licking her lips in satisfaction. That girl is taking over my deserved position, Lillian said, slamming her hand on the table. Brenda laughed. Which girl? Lillian's eyes darkened. That Amelia, or whatever she calls herself. Brenda raised an eyebrow. The one that looks like she just left the village? Lillian frowned. Exactly. Can you imagine? Madame Laura just picked her from nowhere and made her her personal assistant. Yet she never even considered promoting me, despite my years of service. Then Brenda said, What message is Madame Laura trying to pass? That a street beggar can just walk in and get jobs? Does she think this is a charity organization? Lillian took a deep breath, her hands tightening around her glass. I need to do something. That girl must leave this office. Brenda leaned back and smiled. Then you're talking to the right person. Lillian's eyes sharpened. Do you have an idea? Brenda leaned forward, lowering her voice. Listen well. Lillian moved closer, her heart beating fast. As Brenda whispered her plan, a slow smile spread across Lillian's face. Amelia wouldn't even see it coming. The next day, Lillian began to make Amelia's life more difficult. One evening, when the office was quiet and everyone had started packing their things to leave, Lillian walked over to Amelia's desk with a huge pile of files in her hands. Here, Lillian said, dropping the files onto Amelia's desk with a loud bang. Sort these alphabetically. I want them on my desk first thing tomorrow morning. Amelia blinked, looking at the huge stack of papers. Her heart sank. It was already past closing time, and she was tired. But Lillian, it's already late, Amelia said, her voice soft. Can't it wait until tomorrow? Lillian gave her a cold smile. Oh, I thought you were a hard worker. Or are you just another lazy pretender? Amelia bit her lip, hurt by what Lillian said. She couldn't back down. Not now. Okay, I'll do it, she said, holding back her frustration. Lillian turned and walked away, feeling satisfied. Amelia looked at the pile again, feeling the weight of it pressing down on her shoulders. She took a deep breath and began to work. The office was very quiet. But with every file she sorted, she could feel Lillian's eyes on her, waiting for her to make a mistake. And deep down, Amelia knew this was just the beginning. One afternoon when Madame Laura was busy in her office, Lillian called Amelia to her desk. Go and buy food for me, Lillian said with a serious look on her face. Amelia hesitated, feeling unsure. She remembered what Madame Laura had told her, never leave the office without permission. But Madame said I shouldn't leave the office without permission, Amelia said nervously. Lillian's eyes grew cold, and she leaned forward. Are you disobeying me? She asked, her voice sharp and threatening. Amelia felt a lump in her throat. No, Ma, she quickly said, feeling trapped. She knew she had no choice but to do what Lillian asked. With a heavy heart, Amelia walked out of the office to buy the food, the weight of the situation pressing on her shoulders. She didn't like breaking the rules, but she felt like she had no choice. When she returned, she was met with an unexpected sight. Madame Laura was standing by the door waiting for her. Where were you? Madame Laura asked, her voice not angry, but disappointed. Amelia's heart sank. She looked to Lillian, hoping she would say something to explain the situation. But Lillian just stood there, arms folded, wearing a proud look on her face, as if this was all part of her plan. Amelia felt small and guilty. I went to buy food for Lillian, she explained quietly, feeling like she was about to be punished. Madame Laura frowned. Her disappointment was clear. Don't ever leave without telling me again, she said sharply, her voice cold. Amelia nodded quickly, her face burning with shame. I'm sorry, Ma, she whispered, hoping that Madame Laura would understand that she didn't mean to break the rule. Lillian, however, was smiling on the inside. Her plan was going exactly the way she wanted. With every small move, she was tightening her grip around Amelia. Everything started to crumble when money disappeared from the office. It was a normal day, or so it seemed. Madame Laura had just received a huge payment of 16 million naira for a big contract. The money was supposed to be in her account, but when she checked, her face dropped. The money was gone. "Who had access to my files?" Madame Laura shouted, her voice trembling with anger. Lillian, standing close by, saw the perfect opportunity. With a little smile, she turned to Brenda, who was watching from a distance. "Watch how I handle this," she whispered, her eyes shining with excitement. Then, without hesitation, Lillian pointed a finger at Amelia. "She was the last person with your documents," Lillian said loudly, making sure everyone could hear her. Madame Laura turned sharply to Amelia, her eyes narrowing. "Did you touch my money?" she asked, her voice cold and filled with suspicion. Amelia's heart raced. She couldn't believe what was happening. "No, Ma, I would never," she pleaded, trying to keep her voice steady. But it was no use. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably. Madame Laura's face remained emotionless. She didn't even blink. "Get out!" she shouted angrily. Amelia stood frozen. She felt as though the ground had been ripped from beneath her. She wanted to explain herself, to tell Madame Laura that she was innocent, but the words just wouldn't come. The office felt suffocating, like the walls were closing in on her. Lillian watched from the side, a smile spreading across her face. This was her moment. Amelia had no idea what was coming next, but Lillian did, and she was going to make sure that Amelia wouldn't last another day in the office. Amelia stumbled backward, her heart heavy with confusion and fear. She didn't know how to fix this. She had just gotten this job, and now it seemed like her world was falling apart. Amelia dropped to her knees. Tears filled her eyes. "Please, Ma, I didn't steal anything. I swear on my life." Her voice cracked, but Madame Laura's face was like stone. Lillian folded her arms, watching the scene like it was an interesting movie. Madame Laura's voice was firm. "Leave before I call security." Amelia's heart shattered. How could this be happening? Just yesterday, she had a job, a chance at a better life. Now she was being thrown out like trash. She looked around. The other workers stared but said nothing. Nobody wanted to challenge Madame Laura. Nobody wanted to defend a girl accused of stealing millions. Slowly, Amelia stood up. She wiped her face with her sleeve, even though the tears kept coming. She turned to Lillian. The smile on Lillian's face told her everything. This was all a setup. Amelia walked out of the office crying uncontrollably. Night came, and she had nowhere to go. She wandered the streets of Abuja, tired and hungry. The world felt big, and she felt so small. Finally, she found a small space between two stalls. The ground was rough, the air was cold, but Amelia had no option. She sat in a corner, hugging her knees to her chest. Meanwhile, back at the office, Lillian and Brenda shared a victorious laugh and high-fived each other. "Finally, she's gone." Brenda laughed. Lillian smiled. She thought she was smart. Let her go and beg on the streets where she belongs. But what they didn't know was that fate had other plans. 2 weeks passed. The office moved on as if Amelia had never existed. Lillian walked around like a queen, enjoying every moment of her victory. Then, one afternoon, Madame Laura's phone rang. "Hello, madam," the voice from the bank said. "We have an update on the missing money." Madame Laura sat up. "Yes? Did you find it?" The banker's next words made her heart stop. "Madam, your account was hacked. The money was stolen by an outsider. It had nothing to do with your staff." Madame Laura felt like the ground had shifted beneath her. "Are you telling me Amelia was innocent?" "Yes, madam. The real thief has been caught. Your money will be returned soon." Madame Laura dropped the phone on her desk, her hands shaking. She had thrown an innocent girl into the streets. She covered her face with her hands. How could she have been so blind? How could she have believed such a terrible lie? She looked up suddenly. "Where is Amelia now?" she whispered. Nobody in the office had an answer. She had to find Amelia before it was too late. Madame Laura's car slowed down as she scanned the market. Her heart was heavy. Where could Amelia be? Then she saw her, sitting on the ground, near a small stall. Amelia hugged her knees to her chest. Her clothes were dusty, her face dull. She looked nothing like the bright young woman who had once walked into her office full of hope. Madame Laura stepped out of the car. "Amelia!" Amelia's head snapped up, her eyes widened in shock. "Ma?" Madame Laura walked closer and sat beside her on the hard ground. People stared, but she didn't care. "I was wrong," she said softly. "I should have trusted you." Amelia's lips trembled. Her eyes filled with tears. "It's okay, Ma." Madame Laura reached for her hand. "Come back." She paused. "Not as my assistant, as my business partner." Amelia's eyes flew open. "What?" Madame Laura smiled. "You're smart, hardworking, and honest. I need someone like you." Amelia covered her mouth, shaking her head. "Ma, I don't know what to say." Madame Laura squeezed her hand. "Just say yes." For a moment, Amelia couldn't breathe. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, she said, "Yes." Lillian sat at her desk, smiling to herself. Life was good. Amelia was gone, Madame Laura trusted her, and she had the office under her control. She leaned back, stretching. "Brenda, I told you. When you handle things well, nobody will suspect you." Brenda chuckled over the phone. "You're amazing, babe. Enjoy your victory." Just then, the office door burst open. Madame Laura walked in, her heels clicking hard against the floor. Lillian quickly stood up. "Good morning, Ma." Madame Laura didn't smile. "Lillian, pack your things. You're fired." The words hit like thunder. Lillian blinked. "Ma?" She forced a laugh. "Aha, this must be a joke." Madame Laura folded her arms. "Do I look like I'm joking?" Lillian's smile faded. "Ma, I don't understand." Madame Laura's eyes turned cold. "You tried to destroy an innocent person. I can't work with a snake." Lillian's knees weakened. "Please, Ma, I was only trying to help." Madame Laura raised her hand. "Security!" Two security men stepped forward. Lillian grabbed the table. "Please, Ma, I beg you. I have nowhere to go. Madame Laura turned away. "Take her out." The security men grabbed her arms. No, Madame Laura, please, give me another chance." But it was too late. Lillian was dragged out, her screams echoing through the office. Months had passed. Amelia was no longer the girl who slept in an uncompleted building. She was no longer the girl who was humiliated, tricked, and thrown out like she was nothing. Today, she walked into the office in a sharp suit. Her steps were firm. Her head was high. Every worker turned to look at her, whispering, "Is that not Amelia? The same girl that was chased out? She's looking like a real boss now." She reached Madame Laura's office and knocked softly. "Come in," Madame Laura's voice called. Amelia entered, her heart beating fast. Madame Laura smiled and gestured to a chair. "Are you ready?" Amelia took a deep breath. "Yes, Ma." Madame Laura handed her a file. "Good, because today, you sign as co-owner of this company." Amelia's hands shook as she took the pen, her eyes filled with tears. "Ma, I don't know what to say." Madame Laura winked. "Don't thank me. Just promise to help others too." Amelia smiled, her heart full. "I will." And with one signature, the girl who was once homeless became a CEO. 1 year later, Amelia sat in the big office that once belonged to Madame Laura. She looked at the young girl standing nervously in front of her. The girl's hands were shaking. Her clothes were clean but old. She reminded Amelia of herself. "What's your name?" Amelia asked gently. "Juliet, Ma," the girl whispered. Amelia picked up the girl's CV. It was almost empty. No work experience, no fancy degrees. "Why should I hire you, Juliet?" The girl took a deep breath. "I'll work really hard, Ma. Just give me a chance." Amelia leaned back and smiled. "You're hired." Juliet's eyes widened. Really?" Amelia nodded. "Someone once gave me a chance. It's time I did the same." Juliet covered her mouth, shaking her head in disbelief. "Thank you, Ma. Thank you." As Amelia watched the girl wipe her tears, she knew she had done the right thing. The cycle of kindness had to continue. The story of Amelia teaches us a powerful lesson. Kindness can change a life, but jealousy and wickedness can destroy one. No matter how hard people try to bring you down, the truth will always come out. And when you finally rise, those who look down on you will have no choice but to watch. What did you learn from this story? Let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And guess what? I have another even more interesting story coming in a few days. So, make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on your notification bell so you'll be the first to know when I upload it. If you enjoyed this story, hit the like button and share it with your friends so they can enjoy it too. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next story.